welcome to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's only local morning show, giving you exclusive access into people, businesses, and events in our community. We're bringing you this show live, daily, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. with your host, me, Maddie Muschin. Before we dive into today's show, every week we highlight someone, an educator, student, business, or organization from our Greater West Bloomfield community, going above and beyond. If you would like to submit an entry for someone, you can scan the QR code on the screen and fill out the Google form with the person's name, their contact information, and reasons why you think they should be recognized here on the Splash Live for our Person of the Week. Now let's go check out what's going on in our Greater West Bloomfield community. The first event we want to look at is the West Bloomfield Township Public Library virtual events. They are hosting a ton of fun and educational events for residents of West Bloomfield in all age groups. On Thursday, they will be having their Reader's Choice book discussion where you're able to talk about what you are currently reading and talk about recommendations with your neighbors and friends. This allows other readers to talk about their books in a virtual discussion facilitated by librarians Amanda and Jolie. For this event and all the other West Bloomfield Township Public Library events, you can register on their website at wblib.org. Our next event we want to look at is the Keego Harbor Canal Cleanup. Next Saturday, April 2nd, they need volunteers. You can help Parks and Recreation Commission clean out the mouth of the canal that runs through Fran Leaf Park and alongside Willow Beach swim site. You can contact the Keego Harbor Parks and Recreation to join and help clean up our community while enjoying the outdoors. This is a great way to get out and give back to your Keego Harbor community through making sure that the canal is clean for the springtime. Our last event we want to look at is the 5th Sylvan Salon. The Salon events at their core are opportunities to explore a myriad of topics with neighbors and friends, new and old. This is their third part of the events covering the Holocaust. On April 5th, the Sylvan Lake residents are relating to their parents' Holocaust stories. It is going to be hosted by Sally Rogers-Siegel and David Frankel. Mr. Lessing is a returning guest, and this is the last time that he will be formally presenting, so it's a great time to listen and learn to their stories. This salon will take place at 6 p.m. for their social hour, and presentations will go from 7 p.m. to 8:15. You can contact Kelly Kraus at 248-797-7630 for more information, and all of those proceeds from the tickets will help fund live music in Sylvan Lake this summer. If you have an event you would like us to feature here on the Splash Live, you can send us a message on our social media pages at Civic Center TV and Facebook at Civic Center TV 15. Coming up, we'll be talking with Michelle Gartland, staff member of the Environmental Department at Town Hall. But before that, a historic club here in West Bloomfield is providing a social place to practice archery and learn from other members. Detroit Archers of West Bloomfield provides their members with the practice to hone their archery skills while also allowing non-members to try sport through their open range practice. Splash reporter Calvin Brown talked with Kevin Marshall, a member at Detroit Archers, about the history behind their location and the programs and leagues that they have for their members. Let's go check it out.
With the warm weather turning over a new leaf, archers around West Bloomfield Township are itching to fix their fletching and start flinging arrows. Nestled in the thicket along Drake Road, Detroit Archers has been hosting club members for years, and I got to talk to member Kevin Marshall about the programs, activities, and history of Detroit Archers.
We've been here in this location since 1951, was when we first bought the first 21 acres of property and added another 10 acres in 1964, building the current clubhouse in 1971. The club was originally formed in Detroit in 1928 with Fred Bear as the first president of the club. It's been a member-driven club ever since 1928. We currently have approximately 80 member families. When one person joins, the whole family joins. And so you're able to share work hours and shoot leagues and use the club like it as the whole family, not just the person who joins it like a health club. It's not family owned, it's owned by the membership. When you become a member here, you become a part owner of the club. And you are required to do certain things as part of the membership, but shooting is the most important part of it. Tonight we have the Tuesday Target League. There are kind of two groups of shooters here at the club. There are target shooters and there are 3D shooters, which shoot foam animals at varying distances. Really test your skills at guessing yardage because the animals are all at different yards. And then we have a FIDA league that starts and runs in the fall, and then the other leagues that start later in the year. Most of the leagues start up right around the new year, and then the Saturday Morning Archer starts the first Saturday in November. We have a program, the Junior Olympic Archery Development Program, an adult program that's led by a man by Nick DeCreasy. He's a USA Archery coach. It's one-on-one training, one night a week. I think they're between sessions now, between the winter session and the summer session. And then on Saturday mornings, we have our Saturday morning archery, where it's kind of a come-as-you-want shooting, and there's some lessons there. It's not as sophisticated as the JOAD or adult program. Then we have on open shooting nights, which right now are Saturdays and Sundays. A lot of people are here to practice for the tournament season that comes up, indoor and outdoor, and or practicing for deer hunting in the fall. Our website is DetroitArchers.com. We have a calendar on the website that lists all the events and open shooting, and please check that calendar. We work on a volunteer basis, and some weekends we don't have people to work open shooting, so we have another event at the club. We love being in West Bloomfield. It's been a great home for us with our open land easement and the wetland works and those kinds of things. And it's been a good partnership with the township, and we like being here in the community.
Thank you to Kevin Marshall for letting me stop by Detroit Archers Clubhouse in West Bloomfield. If you have any interest at all in archery, you'd be far off target if you didn't look into Detroit Archers. Reporting for The Splash Live, I'm Calvin Brown.
If you're looking to become a member or try your hand at archery, you can check the Detroit Archers of West Bloomfield out here in West Bloomfield and visit their website at DetroitArchers.com to see their expansive list of upcoming events. Later on, we'll be talking to the 2022 Division I state champs for our girls basketball and head coach Darrin McAllister. But before that, we'll be talking with Michelle Gartland, environmental and project analyst for the environmental department at Town Hall. All that and more after this short break.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm your host, Maddie Muschin. Joining us now to talk about the updates within the environmental department at Town Hall is Michelle Gartland, environmental and project analyst. Michelle, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So Michelle, could you tell us a little bit about your position at Town Hall as an analyst?
Okay. So here in West Bloomfield, there are a large amount of wetlands and woodlands in the township. So our goal here, and the goal of my position, is to help regulate and protect those protected areas and regulated areas, such as wetlands, woodlands, lakes, streams, floodways, floodplains, anything that has to do with those areas in the environment. So basically we go out there and make sure that those areas stay protected, that residents are aware that they are regulated areas. If they're not, we inform them of the rules and regulations of those areas, such as, things as tree removal or areas within 25 feet of a lake. Those areas cannot be touched. It's homes and areas that are regulated for creatures and critters. So we just keep those areas safe throughout the township.
Michelle, will you tell us a little bit about what makes a woodland or wetland protected and regulated in West Bloomfield Township?
Sure. So for woodlands, there's areas that are deemed regulated, and those are areas just to keep preserved throughout the township, to keep habitat for creatures, critters, animals, and as well as homes for animals and natural vegetated areas, so that we do have green areas in the township. For the lakes, obviously it's a lake, and then there's a 25-foot buffer within the lake that cannot be touched, so that there's no, such as fertilizers that can't creep into our waters and start growing algae and having a buildup of chemicals in the water. There's the streams that run through areas, so those areas are considered and fall under our wetland ordinance.
And Michelle, could you talk about some of those ordinances and those rules and regulations that you guys in the environmental department have set for those protected woodlands and wetlands?
Yes. So like I said, the areas for the woodland, those areas are on our township map, and it's a regulated area. So just means that those areas cannot be touched. Sometimes there's areas on those regulated woodlands that are trees that are dangerous, dying, diseased. If homeowners have an area like that or a tree of concern, they would contact us. I would go out there, take a look at it, and give approval to remove it or not. If it's not considered an imminent danger, we do not allow them to remove it. We like to keep that area and those trees there for habitat for animals, creatures, critters. For our wetlands areas, it's basically, it's not just if an area is wet. It depends on the soil hydrology, and you can tell by vegetation that grows in that area as well. So wetlands, some residents may have an eye for that, but if there's ever a question about if an area is a regulated wetland, you can contact me at the township, and we can come out to your property and determine if the area is regulated or not. So the lakes, are regulated. Wetlands, which may be hard for some people to decipher, and there's also floodplains that you can jump onto the FEMA website and determine if it's an area as a regulated floodplain or floodway area.
Michelle, could we talk a little bit about what happens if a resident of West Bloomfield violates some of those rules, regulations, ordinances that you guys have set in place? What was the process of that? Obviously, you guys go out and figure out if they have violated those ordinances, but what happens throughout that process?
Right, sure. So we usually, we go out there, and if somebody has violated the ordinance, in most cases they're not aware that they are in a regulated area. So I go out there, I assess the area or the damage that has been done, take pictures. I come back to the township, and I create a letter for them informing them that they must apply for a permit and go before the Environmental Commission. That's for both wetland, woodland, and environmental feature setback. They have to come up with a restoration plan or a mitigation plan, depending what violation it is. They present their case before the Environmental Commission, and then they will determine what needs to be done in order to restore or repair the area that they had damaged due to not knowing that's in a regulated area.
Michelle, as we head into the springtime, do you guys in the environmental department see any uptick in those violations of the ordinances that you guys have here in the environmental department?
Yes, for sure. With spring comes spring cleanup. So some people just get a little bit too crazy on going in close to regulated areas. They want to take care of any deadfall or any debris that has accumulated on properties. But again, we want to remind people that there are protected areas, with the woodlands. And if a tree has fallen, sometimes you just have to leave that tree there. I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, some people may find that beautiful and some people may not, but we do have to keep it there because it is providing so much habitat for all these little creatures that are there that we cannot see to the eye. So we just have to keep that there. But yeah, so we do see an increase in violators, but please, if you have any question at all, if you can touch a certain area of your property or if it's protected or not, please give us a call here at the Township.
Michelle, as we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience about how to keep the West Bloomfield environment clean this spring?
Yes. Again, just, check with us first. Again, and then the big time of year right now is fertilizing. Just please remember, if you're within 25 feet or even actually a 50-foot buffer, please do not fertilize that area. We want to keep that area protected, the water's clean, and just keep our environment overall clean here at West Bloomfield Township.
Well, Michelle, we appreciate you joining us here on the Splash Live. Thanks so much.
Yep, thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Thank you. Once again, I was joined by Michelle Gartland, Environmental and Project Analyst for the Environment Department in West Bloomfield Town Hall. I got to stop by a staple here in Greater West Bloomfield that is bringing the feeling of community and house-made beer and food to the area. CJ's Brewing Company, located off of Richardson Road, is the perfect place to gather with friends. And I got to talk with Assistant General Manager Tyson Forrester about why you should make CJ's your go-to restaurant. Calling all beer fanatics and lovers of local restaurants, CJ's Brewing Company has all the beer and homemade food you could dream of right here in Greater West Bloomfield. We visited CJ's and talked to Assistant General Manager Tyson Forrester about their history and the food and beer they serve.
Well, as far as CJ's is concerned, we were started back in 1997. For probably a majority of the early 2000s, we were number 5 in the state for beer production, which is saying a lot how small our brewery is. We actually have a brew pub license, which allows us to keep a full liquor bar, as well as our brewing process. So we do a lot of fun stuff. Our top 5 is our normal Golden Lager American Wheat VAT 33 IPA, Lower Straight Stout, and our Rich Hag Red that we have. We always have at least 14 to 16 taps, and everything is made in-house. We do have a few domestics that, believe it or not, we end up having to throw some of them away because they fall past the date because our beer is so good. What I will say about our beer is it is true to the type of beer. Like our Lower Straight Stout, it doesn't have a lot of big, I call them foo-foo flavors for me. My husband likes Neapolitan Stout from Saugatuck Brewing Company. I love our Lower Straight Stout because it is a stout and it's not thick. So you can have more than one and not feel full. We have a scratch kitchen, so everything down to the sauces, down to the doughs is made in-house, which I think wrapping that around the fact that we have so much good beer works well for us.
We also asked Tyson how the COVID-19 pandemic impacted CJ's and the rest of their staff.
Throughout the pandemic, we had a lot of people that were very nervous about what was going on in the real world, Information came in spurts. One of the big things that I preached from day one was, all of the rules and regulations that the health department has put us in, we already do that. So you don't have to learn anything new other than, triple the amount of times that you might wipe a door handle. And that was our focus. A lot of people were affected differently. They reacted differently. I know a lot of our fellow restaurants were really, really affected by the shutdown with what happened with COVID-19 and then, the increased restrictions that the restaurant industry held.
Tyson also talked about his love for the Greater West Bloomfield area as well as what the community means to them.
I always tell everybody we're far enough away but close enough to be there. We don't have the hustle and bustle that you see if you're shooting down Woodward from Birmingham all the way to Detroit. There's pride, there's a sense of pride whenever you say, I live in West Bloomfield. I don't ever feel like ashamed or upset.
If you're looking for a place to eat that feels like a community, CJ's Brewing Company in Greater West Bloomfield is the place for you. Reporting for the Splash Live, I'm Maddie Muschin. Thank you again to Tyson for giving us an inside look into CJ's Brewing Company. The love for West Bloomfield and their patrons is off the charts, so make sure to stop by to check out their expansive list of beers and great food. We're going to take a short break here on the Splash Live, and we will be back to talk to some very cool guests that we will be having on here. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Teens a day die from texting and driving. Don't text and drive.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I'm your host, Maddie Mustin. If you've been following West Bloomfield athletics, you know that the girls basketball team has been phenomenal all season long and has showed all of Michigan as they defeated Gartland in the state championship 51-42 in the Division I state championship at Breslin Center in East Lansing. We have talked to head coach Darrin McAllister throughout their entire season and also highlighted some of the girls as they went through the entire state championship run. We have a couple of great players on the team, including Summer Davis and India Davis. Those are sophomores. And Mayana Hooper, who is one of the seniors that will be heading to go play later in college. But joining us now, again on the Splash Live, is head coach Darrin McAllister to talk about their state championship run. Darrin, thanks so much for being with us again.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
So, Coach, you talked to me before heading into the semifinal game against Rockford. After you won that game to advance to the state championship, what was going through your head?
After the Rockford game, to be honest with you, the only thing that was in my mind was preparation. I knew it was a quick turnaround, so I knew that I had to find a way to get us better prepared. We didn't have the luxury of a few days in between, so I immediately was looking forward to getting on the bus and getting back to West Bloomfield so I can get in front of a laptop and start preparing.
And then, Darrin, you talked about you not having a lot of time to prepare. You played the semifinal game on Friday, and then you played the state championship game on Saturday. For these girls, normally they have a few days in between games to rest, recharge, stretch a little bit. What was it like to have those girls go back-to-back, especially headed into the state championship game?
Well, we talked about that sacrifice and being able to play back-to-back. Nearly everything that we went through during this ride, we were prepared for it. They mentioned November 12th what they wanted to accomplish, and it was my job, along with our coaching staff job, to let them know what it takes to get to this point. So they were expecting a back-to-back game. They were expecting to get an overload of knowledge, and I couldn't be more proud of them, which is why at the end of the game, the championship game, I got really emotional because I couldn't be more proud of the sacrifices, the commitment that each and every player gave on this team.
And Coach, all year, the whole entire West Bloomfield basketball team has had a target on their back as the ones to beat, especially after you guys beat Detroit Edison back in February. How does it feel to finally show the entire state of Michigan that you guys are the real deal?
It feels great. It's a great feeling. We knew coming into the season that we would have a target on our back. The luxury that we had that a lot of people didn't know is we really got our confidence when we played Bolingbrook, which is one of the top teams in the state of Illinois and one of the top in the Midwest. And for us to be down by 19 and come back and win in the fashion that we did, it gave us a superb confidence. And that's what gave us the mindset that we can compete with anyone. But the outside looking in, people thought that it was depths of beating Detroit Edison that gave us the confidence, but it was actually Bolingbrook back in December.
Coach, looking back on the season, how does it feel to be able to now say you are the Division I state champions here in Michigan for girls basketball?
You know, to be honest with you, Maddie, it didn't set in. I was just talking to Mayana Hooper on the way over. It really didn't set in until yesterday that we're actually state champions. My mind is always in go mode and what's next. I had an episode after the game where it was emotional at the championship game. It all hit me. But then I got back into the mindset of what's next. And so preparing for the banquet, preparing for off season. And a friend of mine told me, hey, just stop, take a deep breath. Just enjoy the moment. And that was yesterday. And that's when it really started hitting me that we're state champs.
And Coach, you were talking a little bit about getting a little bit emotional after the final buzzer, after the team won the state championship. What was going through your head and what were you thinking about right in that moment after the final buzzer?
Well, Maddie, to be honest with you, I get chills now thinking about it. I consider myself to be, I can be a little tough. Law enforcement has that way where, I really don't show my emotions, but this is a great team. I love each and every one of those players, and to see the sacrifices that they've made, their commitment and the buy-in and accepting me as their coach and their leader, it just all of a sudden hit me at that moment. And I couldn't even stand. It was an overwhelming feeling. The joy and just seeing that they accomplished that goal, because this is, again, I say all the time, this is bigger than basketball. So now they know in life, if I put my mind to something and I believe it, that I can accomplish it. So those are what those emotions were. And it was wonderful. I still get chills now thinking about it.
Coach, as we wrap up, you guys obviously have another season ahead of you next year. To come off of winning the Division I state championship, obviously you have to say goodbye to your seniors, but what is next for the West Bloomfield girls basketball team looking into next year?
Well, I promised myself that I wouldn't answer that question. The only thing I can tell you is we're on to the next chapter of what we have to do, and that's right now enjoying the banquet, and then from that point on, putting together an off-season plan, and wherever it takes us, it'll take us. But yeah, I really don't want to look forward to next year as to what's going to happen. I just want to look forward to what's next, and that was our game plan during the season. We said we want to become state champions, but we took every day, day by day, and every game, game by game. So that's the same mindset that I'm going to have with this program. What's next is right now the banquet and off season. Well, Coach, and everything else will take care of itself.
We appreciate you for joining us again here on the Splash Live, and a big congratulations from everyone here at Civic Center TV on your state championship. We believed and you believed, and now all of Michigan believes.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
appreciate
Coach.
You. Yep. Did you want one of the players, were you all set, or?
Well, I think we're all set here. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good day.
That's it for today's show. Thank you again to Michelle Gartland and Darrin McAllister for joining us this morning. It was great to have you on. A special thanks to all of our staff here at Civic Center TV for helping us get the show. And thank you to the girls for joining us now on the Zoom. Big thanks to everyone for watching this morning as we explored all of the great events and people that are going on in our greater West Bloomfield community. As always, you can tune in live on Civic Center TV each day to watch here on the Splash Live. For all of our friends in Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, Keiko Harbor, and West Bloomfield, I'm Maddie Muschin. Thank you for joining us here on the Splash Live.